and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile.
Tradition starts together with the University of Kansas Jayhawks and Central Bank. And now a new tradition starts with the launch of Jayhawk Checking and the official Jayhawk debit card, coming in January, exclusively at Central Bank. You'll be able to show your Jayhawk spirit wherever you are, whether it's packing the booth to traveling the road to the big bowl game. And congratulations to the Jayhawks football team on your incredible season. Central Bank is the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas. Visit centralbank.net to learn more. Member FDIC. Tradition starts together with the University of Kansas Jayhawks and Central Bank. And now a new tradition starts with the launch of Jayhawk Checking and the official Jayhawk debit card, coming in January, exclusively at Central Bank. You'll be able to show your Jayhawk spirit wherever you are, whether it's packing the booth to traveling the road to the big bowl game. And congratulations to the Jayhawks football team on your incredible season. Central Bank is the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas. Visit centralbank.net to learn more. Member FDIC. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judges' Choice double gold medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly. Catch the Pick segment with Fat Jack weekly during the program with Soren Petro Thursdays at 3 all football season long on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The guys and Fat Jack will pick 5 games against the spread and give their opinions on how the games are going to play out. There will be bragging and trash talking. Fat Jack has been a leading sports analyst for 27 years. His records are documented and recorded at fatjacksports.com. Listen every Thursday at 3 during the program for the program Picks with Fat Jack. Learn more at fatjacksports.com.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
Just outside the 2, 3rd and goal, Kansas City. Mahomes back in the pocket, scrambling far side left. He's still got it at the 5, shuffles it forward, touchdown to McKinnon. And he made it look easy. A typical Mahomes pass, a shovel forward with the right hand. Nobody on McKinnon. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Made it look easy could actually just be the slogan of the evening here in Kansas City and out there in Las Vegas, where the Kansas City Chiefs clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC with a victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. After everything that came and went this offseason in the AFC West, not only did the Chiefs clinch the division before Christmas, they swept it. 6-0 in the vaunted AFC West for the Chiefs as they end the regular season at 14-3. Again, your final score over the Raiders, 31-13. Welcome into the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. I am Joshua Brisco, the Drake on the other side of the glass. Continuing coverage on the KU basketball front going on the other side of the glass behind me, 1510 AM and 94.5 FM, if you want to continue hearing more from KU. In the meantime, if you want to sound off here, 9133-810-810. We'll take a few calls as we continue on. It'll be a little bit of an abridged version of the show, really just a later start as KU gets the victory on the road. But really here, we are here to talk about the Chiefs' victory on the road. And anything you could have drawn up to ask for entering the playoffs, this seems like it should have checked just about every box for you. It certainly did for me. I am really encouraged, as I have been a few weeks in a row now, about the progress of this young defense. I am over the moon about the performances we're seeing from Chris Jones, leading to even more good work from rookie defensive end George Karlaftis, who really seems to be hitting his stride. Overall, the defensive line just had a feasting day where Mike Dana, Carlos Dunlap, and really the whole crew altogether, Colin Saunders on both sides of the ball got involved, and that's, again, beyond just Jones and Karlaftis and sort of the usual cast of characters. A defense that looked better against Jarrett Stidham than the Niners defense did last week, and that's not all one-to-one, obviously. The backup quarterback's debut usually seems to go better than their second game, so I'm willing to give the Niners the benefit of the doubt. That defense is still pretty good. But tell me what else you would have asked for coming into this football game, if not a dominant-looking performance by and large on both sides of the football, and a game that ended with Chad Henne kneeling it out. That's pretty much the assignment for the final game of the regular season that locks up your first-round bye. And yes, if the Bills win tomorrow and the Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game is the ticket to get to the Super Bowl, that game would play in a to-be-determined neutral site. Any other opponent in the AFC Championship game, should the Chiefs get there, that game happens at Arrowhead Stadium. That's really the only amount I want to talk about the potential scenarios anymore tonight. We talked about them all week. We'll talk about them after we have the game results on Sunday, so I don't want to do all of the back-of-the-napkin math today, because that's not the important thing. The important thing is how the Chiefs looked. We've talked about the Chiefs playing a tale of two halves. We've talked about the Chiefs not beating lesser opponents strongly enough. We've talked about one side of the ball sparing the other side of the ball. We've talked about good games derailed by special teams. Because with the Chiefs, you can't say both sides of the ball. You have to say all sides of the ball because there are three of them. Special teams have really made an impact in a negative way by and large this year. Today in Vegas, Patrick Mahomes, hold your breath, played like the MVP. It's because he is, but he also played like it. The ground game became a larger factor when they were just putting it away at the end, but Isaiah Pacheco runs with an energy and a violence that remains fun and will remain fun going into the playoffs. You got your Ronald Jones game, not just kind of closing it out later on, but also scoring a touchdown earlier on. You saw Jerick McKinnon, of course, score a touchdown. His stat line ends 2 receptions, 0 yards, 1 touchdown. Hilarious. Perfect. Why wouldn't that be it? You got your deep shot play early on, the Justin Watson, who actually led the team in receiving, which is shocking. You probably wouldn't have been too excited if I would have told you, and frankly, I'm just looking at the box score again now. These numbers are hilarious. 202 yards and 1 touchdown for Patrick Mahomes in the air. You'd go, oh God, what happened? Especially when 67 of those came on 1 pass early on. Impossible. Well, the Chiefs had some short fields. They moved the ball and they needed to move the ball. They were effective in the red zone. They were downright disrespectful, running snow globes and Colin Saunders out of the backfield. Looking at the box score here is only doing it a disservice because I think it makes this game look weirder than it actually was. Because the watching live experience of this game was actually pretty simple. One team had better talent, was better coached, played better ball, planned better, executed better, had the horses. It was the type of game that you see in college more than you see in the NFL, where one team's just outclassed. Again, not to belabor this point, but outclassed to the extent that you are playing ring around the rosy before a snap of what should have been a touchdown, if not for a really soft holding call. A team running number 99 out of the backfield for a trick shot touchdown. It's not just about the dominance for me, for what the Chiefs did in this game. It's also about the style. It was fun football. It wasn't all clenched muscles and sweating bullets in the fourth quarter because we've just gotten used to that. it was, by and large, pretty easygoing, wire-to-wire excellence. And frankly, for a team that has Patrick Mahomes, and we talked about the running game some, Kadarius Toney just, I think, is going to be... If Kadarius Toney can just stay healthy next year, whole offseason for Andy Reid to just draw up little jitterbug plays for him, that dude moves differently. Even just, hey, give Andy Reid a bye week and the playoffs are coming around. No McCole Hardman in this game either, so we still haven't seen much of Hardman and Toney on the field together. You hope that happens by playoff time. The most important thing of all of it is that you know they're not playing next week. The neutral site stuff does not bother me one bit. The NFL had to figure out what to do with an impossible situation, all of that. But more than anything else, it was clean, crisp, wire-to-wire, dominant, fun, excellent football. No big, ridiculous mistake shooting yourself in the foot on special teams. A outrageous day from Chris Jones and that defensive line, just putting Jarrett Stidham in hell. And an offense that was distributing amongst its playmakers, moving the ball pretty effectively, and just looking like the Chiefs. Looking like the good old Chiefs ramping up for the playoffs. What a great way to not worry about football tomorrow or next weekend. We have had a lot of post-game show conversations this year where I felt like I had aged pretty significantly over the previous 4 hours or so. I felt rejuvenated today. I feel great. I could go back and try to actually find an answer to this sort of rhetorical question I'm asking you and myself, but when was the last time there was a Chiefs game that was as fun as this one was? They looked good against the Seahawks, and it was really encouraging defensively. Defense especially, just watching them try to continue that against the Broncos last week was also pretty good, but Broncos game before that, no fun. Bengals loss, obviously no fun. That Rams game was sort of beaten up on a JV team. You can give them some credit for different things, but it wasn't necessarily terribly enjoyable. They put up 44 on the Niners right after the Bills loss. The home opener, not the home opener, just the opener, period, week 1 at Arizona. If it wasn't for Harrison Butker and Trent McDuffie getting hurt, that one would have been like the Hakuna Matata, no worries sort of game. But that's it today. I'm eating bugs over here. This is the Hakuna Matata game. Don't look at me like that, Drake. That's how your brow furrow. It means no worries for the rest of your days, or at least for a week and a half or so. That's our problem-free philosophy. Blow out the Raiders. That's what it was today. I hope that that's an energy that everybody can take with you through, again, a great slate of games tomorrow. We'll see how Buffalo plays, where they end up. We'll see if you got to stress out about your AFC Championship game, home or neutral sites. Again, I'm at this point, if you would have said 2 weeks ago, before Bills-Bengals ever kicked off, and then that game walked all the way up to the brink of unspeakable tragedy, and now we're back to a place where Damar Hamlin put out a tweet and an Instagram post early during the game today. The word miraculous does not feel like an overstatement. Just tremendous news there. But you go back before that game ever would have kicked off on Monday, and you would have said, hey, here's a totally random scenario where the Chiefs have the 1 seed. They have the first round bye, but if they play against Buffalo, they're going to go do it in Vegas or Tennessee or Miami or whatever, because Indy and Detroit have both already opted out, basically. I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I would have been no hesitation at all. If you would have given me a world where the Chiefs could not play next weekend and then they would have been stuck on the road the rest of the way, I think I probably would have taken that. Because this next upcoming week, Frank Clark leaves the game with an injury, does not return. McCole Hardman does not play in this game. You had a lot of guys entering the game questionable. Several of them played. Butker, Snead, Tooney, all out there, all played through the game. Snead left briefly, came back. Just getting the rest of a week, not having to prepare for an opponent this week, and having a 0% chance that your playoff life is cut 1 week short like that. All great news for Kansas City. Nothing about the championship game that has not arrived yet, that has not had teams assigned to it yet. None of that matters right now. The Chiefs handled their business today and looked great doing it. Style points don't matter in your final score, but they certainly matter with the morale heading into the playoffs. So I feel excellent about all this. I hope you do as well. We'll start taking your calls here in just a second, then we'll hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Nick Bolton, and Chris Jones. Plus, we'll talk to Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. It's all brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Also, even more good news when they put up 31 points. This is all good news for you. You know the drill at this point, I'd imagine. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. And our team's score is your percent off. They scored 31 points, so you get 31% off all day tomorrow, and I'm guessing perhaps extending through Monday, because usually games happen on Sundays. 31% off at CBD American Shaman on orders of $100 or more. Again, CBD American Shaman, because life is better with the feather. Let's hit the phones, and we'll open it up with Kyle. Kyle, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm feeling good, Josh. Thank you for taking my call. Man, you took my thunder, right? But I just wanted to say that this was a good game all around, and I feel pretty good about this postseason. I feel pretty good. This game made me feel pretty good going into the postseason than the previous couple-week games that we played. So defense played good. Offense, I really liked the running game today, too, from the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't throw the ball much like they normally do, but I'm really glad that they established the running game today. But Josh, thank you for taking my call, and I'll listen off the air.
Kyle, thank you as always, my friend. Happy to share the thunder on this one, because I think that, and look, sometimes we get some real, disagreeing opinions on the calls over the course of a show. I hope that's how everybody feels. If not, I want to hear why. Maybe you're not as excited as it sounds like Kyle and I are, but yeah, you wanted to see no back-breaking mistakes, nothing dumb, no big injuries, play some good football, and they played some great football. And you're right, again, the box score is hilarious because 202 passing yards for one touchdown on 18 of 26 for Patrick Mahomes. Out of context is not an impressive stat line. 168 yards on the ground is shocking for the Chiefs. They did it on 28 carries. That's 6 yards per carry. Yeah, that'll do. Isaiah Pacheco had the 31-yarder that was just beautiful, explosive football. Ronald Jones had the one to get them into kneel-down territory late in the game. Mahomes scrambled. Kadarius Toney got 3 handoffs out of the backfield. Everything was working. The only thing that didn't work was that play to Colin Saunders, which I'm guessing Mahomes and Chris Jones talked about today that we'll hear from in a little bit. But I just think it's good vibes central headed into the playoffs right now. Or good vibes west, perhaps, because that's all the Chiefs have. Next up, we go to Ryan. Ryan, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ryan, how you feeling?
Absolutely wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good. You sound energetic as ever.
Hey, I've got 5 things written down here.
Hit me.
Baby. Hey, defense up front. Wow. Everybody on the defense, basically. But the up front, sacks, the tackling today seemed legit. Bolton, that's the guy. I don't know how many. Did he lead the NFL? I don't want to answer it just yet, but I want you guys to look up. Did he lead the NFL in tackles? Just not right now. Especially, of course, they played first this weekend. But second one was Toney. Yes. And thank you, Tony, for coming here. And hopefully he stays over. He's not hurt. You didn't say that, did he?
No. He's all good health-wise today. The only injury that I know of right now is Frank Clark.
Well, exactly. So then that's fine. Understandably, hopefully Frank Clark. Hey, prayers, right? Everybody gets prayers. And then the Pacheco, the studs. We got Pacheco, McKinnon, And Jones now, it looks like why we saved him. I mean, I like it. And they ran the ball today up front, got physical, started with that. They shouldn't, they got away from it a little bit, it looked like, right? I don't know, second quarter, third quarter. But went right back to it. Just played physical football today. Another thing, we had Mahomes. And then the last thing I have is just we're on the way to the trophy. Everybody better believe. Because we're on the way to the trophy. And negativity better be at ease today, Gary. But go Chiefs. Come on now.
Ryan, appreciate you as always, my friend. Here's the thing. The physicality of this game, absolutely there. While coexisting with the finesse, stupid things Patrick Mahomes can do with the football. When we talked about these last couple of weeks, hey, can this team actually win the Super Bowl? Are they too flawed? When I said no, they're not too flawed. Yes, they can, of course, win the Super Bowl. It's a flawed league with flawed teams in it. But the Chiefs have just had some variance up and down when they've played really good football versus not very good football. This is what it can look like today. And the Raiders had some pride to play for. They have this quarterback they're trying to make something out of, and a bunch of dudes out there who still care. The Chiefs owned him today. All you can do is be the team in front of you, and specifically on the defensive side, I'm at 3 games in a row, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders, feeling really good about the direction. And I'm now arguing with something that hasn't even been said yet. But if you are thinking like, okay, yeah, but again, the opponent, right? How many times have we talked about not having strong enough performances against subpar opponents? We do it all the time. It's happened like 3 times a month this season. You might not think very much of the interior offensive line that Vegas has. But you think that in part because of how bleeping dominant the Chiefs were in the trenches today. It feels great for the Chiefs to win a game in the trenches that then extends to great moments from Kadarius Toney, great moments from Patrick Mahomes, just an offense humming, a defense squishing things. Stupendous. Fills my heart with joy. Next up, we got Dan. Dan, you're on Sports Radio 810. Whoop, Dan, you got me?
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about them Chiefs? Number 1 seed, yeah. It was a great game, yeah. All around great game. Special teams really, really good, Joshua. And the defense, how about that? Chris Jones with 2 sacks and a sack and a half by Karlaftis and 2 sacks by Mike Dana. I like what I'm seeing, And I'm telling you so well, Joshua. And when Frank Clark gets back, the defensive line's going to be more dominant. And I'd like to see in the playoffs Chris Jones get that first sack. He's going to be on the man on the mission. Let's take care of whoever we play. And I'm glad that it's all doing great for Damar Hamlin.
Yes.
In all the years I've seen it, I've never seen anything like that. The only time I've seen anything that bad on a football field was when Jack Tatum hit Darryl Stingley. At the time, nobody knew how bad that was until they found out he paralyzed him. But anyway, it was a great all-around game. Let's go, Joshua. Let's go to the Super Bowl. Take care of yourself.
Dan, appreciate you as always, man. Always good to hear from you. Something else as I was looking in here, you mentioned the Dana sacks and everything. It's just really nice for the Chiefs to also put up a clean sheet on the turnover front to take 2 away from the Raiders, win in the red zone, turn those turnovers into points, turn those opportunities into progressively better opportunities for themselves. It just feels like it's time for the playoffs. It's felt like that a little bit for a few weeks in kind of an autopilot sense. Right now, though, it feels like they are ready for the playoffs, which I thought they'd get there, but boy, it's nice to see it on the field, knowing that we're not going to have any Chiefs football next weekend. Last call here. Let's go to Parker. Parker, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What's up, Parker?
Hi, Josh. Great to hear from you. I saw that the show was starting, and I had to run out of my gym so I could go sit in my car to call. I just have a few notes.
Please.
I saw, coming into this game, I was kind of like Seth. I was like, something's going to go wrong. We're going to fumble the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I made plans. I was like, I don't even want to watch the first part of this game because it's going to be too stressful. I turned it on anyway. What a great time, man.
Yeah.
The most complete win of this year. Just super relieving. All 3 sides. I mean, a 62-yard punt from Tommy Townsend. Are you kidding me?
Conor McGregor walked from a punter. Are you kidding me?
I know. Beautiful. I just want to say I saw that you said this was an unzipped game.
Yes.
I think that's underselling it a little bit. This is a clown car with a V12. I mean, this is somehow we were flying down the field and pulling out all the plays that we just have saved, I guess, and didn't really know if we wanted to use them in the playoffs, so we just started pulling more clowns out of the car. And just one final note, not really a negative, but, earlier on in the year we were talking about what McDuffie's weakness was.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it might be the Raiders' graceful white horse coming from the sandy white shores of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He put that man in a spin cycle, but it happens to all of us. The fact that we only have one real thing to ever say about McDuffie, and it's all positive otherwise, is amazing. He's going to be a superstar. I'm super pumped, man. The energy in this game was great. If we can carry this over, I'll be super happy and just looking forward to all of our hopeful playoff success.
Me too. Parker,
thanks again, Josh.
Stay on hold for me so I can get the Drake to get your info. I really appreciate the call. And also, look, who hasn't been put in a spin cycle by Hunter Renfrow once or twice? That's the one kryptonite for that's the one kryptonite for Jim McDuffie. Good stuff, Parker. And good enough to make you our Green Grass Cattle Company caller of the game. We're going to send you a tomahawk steak courtesy of our friends there at Greengrass Cattle Co. You can visit their store in Weston, Missouri, off 45 Highway, less than a mile from the ranch, or order online at greengrasscattleco.com, and they'll deliver right to your door. Locally owned and operated right there in Weston. They do great work. It was a treat to get out there earlier this year, or I guess late last year now. Good to be out there and see how they do things. Awesome to get to also sample the product. I know you'll enjoy it very much. Again, visit them online at greengrasscattleco.com, and they can deliver right to your door. We'll take a timeout of our own here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When we come back, we're going to see either it's Matt Derrick or Andy Reid. I feel pretty good about our options. I'm Joshua Brisco, the Drake on the other side of the glass. More 810 Postgame next.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I love my collection of autographed jerseys, and there's only one place I trust to frame them perfectly. Art and Frame Warehouse at 92nd and Metcalf. Art and Frame has the largest selection of custom framing options, the best customer service, and the best prices in Kansas City. Plus, mention my name, and you'll save even more. Locally owned and operated for almost 20 years, Art and Frame Warehouse specializes in jerseys and sports memorabilia, and all their work comes with a lifetime guarantee. They even delivered and installed all of my jerseys. Visit framekc.com for more information. Art and Frame Warehouse, gallery quality at warehouse prices.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org. Tradition starts together with the University of Kansas Jayhawks and Central Bank. And now a new tradition starts with the launch of Jayhawk Checking and the official Jayhawk Debit Card, coming in January, exclusively at Central Bank. You'll be able to show your Jayhawk spirit wherever you are, whether it's packing the booth to traveling the road to the big bowl game. And congratulations to the Jayhawks football team on your incredible season. Central Bank is the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas. Visit centralbank.net to learn more. Member FDIC.
Your chronic pain, anxiety, and other ailments don't take the weekend off. And neither does Relief Resources Dispensary. In addition to our extended dispensary hours, the drive-thru is now pulling an all-nighter for you every Saturday night. That means for 30 consecutive weekend hours, from 10 a.m. Saturday morning until 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon, you can find nonstop relief at Relief Resources Dispensary. Just order what you need online from one of the largest selections in the state, and it will be ready within minutes at Relief Resources Drive-Thru. Of course, medical decisions should not be based on advertising, and you should always consult a physician on the benefits and risks of particular medical marijuana products. And with over 500 products to choose from, you're sure to find one to provide the non-pharma medical relief you want, even after your second or third shift on Saturday night. When you're ready, we're ready. Relief Resources Dispensary in Grandview on 71 Highway at 140th Street and online at reliefmo.com.
2nd down and 5. Here's another end around to Tony. Breaks the tackle 10, 5, and did he get the pylon? Yes, touchdown Chiefs.
Kadarius Toney really did it twice in the red zone. That is our sweet play of the game, brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Andy's sweet play of the game, because, boy, I think Andy Reid enjoys having Kadarius Toney there to play with in the offense. Stop by any KC location at an Andy's Frozen Custard for Travis Kelce's 87 and running concrete and help raise money for this worthy cause. 87 and running and Andy's Frozen Custard, the perfect option play for KC fans everywhere. The perfect choice for us here on a brisk evening now is Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. Matt, there were plenty of good things to choose from in this game. My general takeaway is, good vibes headed into the postseason, a bye week, nothing that I can really come up with to complain about. It's a weird feeling, but I'm not complaining about it.
I was wondering what the kind of vibe was out there and everything, because I have no complaints. I mean, I can't really quibble with anything after this game. This team needed to come out and have a clean, complete, efficient effort, and that's exactly what that was. So, I mean, I don't know if you could really have a lot of complaints after that one.
No, and so instead of doing the thing that it feels like we've fallen into the habit of, which is, Matt, Chiefs win, but this thing went poorly, how do they fix it? Let me ask you this way. What was the most impressive thing that you saw today? Understanding, the story of the Chiefs this year and some of the places where they haven't been as consistently flawless.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest thing that stood out today was on the defensive side in particular, and certainly the play up the front four. The defensive line dominated everything. I mean, in the pass game, the run game. I mean, clearly, the Raiders' game plan was to feed Josh Jacobs, see if they couldn't help him pad his lead for the rushing title, use play action when they needed to move the football, just like they did against the 49ers, and they accomplished neither of those. Steve Spagnuolo had a really good game plan for attacking that play action game. They used some safety blitzes. They were still able to get some penetration with the four up front very effectively. And this wasn't a fully manned Raiders team, and they were checked out to a bit, and they're just trying to experiment and see what they've got. But at the same time, I mean, they were trying to win this game. I mean, there's no doubt they had some energy into it, but it wasn't good enough. And I think the fact that the Chiefs were able to control this game defensively and at the line of scrimmage, something that they had to show that they could do. And to me, I circle it back because we've been talking about it. What does this team need to do? I needed to see this team, and what they need to do in the postseason is they need to get off the field. And the ways that they do that, turnovers, you get 2 of those today, good. Red zone defense, you get a 4th down stop in the red zone, good. The one drawbacks, I think they finished 50% on 3rd down, not so good. That's the only area. I mean, 2 out of 3, not bad. But if 3rd downs were better, this would be an absolutely complete effort from this team today.
And I think you're 100% right that it's really hard to have that conversation without it starting with those front four. I mean, the Chiefs were getting pressure consistently without it always having to be exotic. Now, Spags got there, Justin Reid right before the Thornhill pick and all. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was working. I think it may have been our friend Seth Kaiser who said that he was giving Stidham the Jordan Love treatment. If I gave that credit to Seth unfairly, I apologize. I hate to give him credit even when he deserves it. But that was sort of what it felt like they were cooking with defensively. But just for Chris Jones to be an animal, for George Karlaftis to be able to play off of that, it seems like his growth has been real. Mike Dana was very involved. I'm left incredibly encouraged by that effort, specifically from those front lines, and that was in a game where Frank Clark barely played.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you do lose Frank Clark and the rest of those guys stepped off, and I don't even think we mentioned Carlos Dunlap, and he was involved too.
Yep.
Bats down another pass. I think I saw that was his 8th of the season and leads the league in pass defense for defensive ends. That's something this team's been pretty good at. I mean, still, the one thing that we have to see is that we need some consistency, and you need to back this up. Yep. I mean, sure, it's a great performance against a 6-11 football team, but I emphasize 6-11 football team. You're not going to be facing any more of those going forward. So is the defense going to be as good? Is the front four and the pass rush going to be as good? I'm not expecting that, but if they can find a way to finally get some consistency, and this is the kind of effort we're going to see, I like their chances.
Yeah. And one thing that I'm looking at, and these teams are all out of the playoff picture, with apologies to the Seahawks, who might be just outside looking in still and need some help, I think, this weekend. But one thing that I have seen consistently in the last 3 games, noting the competition, but the defense beyond just the front four, they've been aggressive. They've been swarming. They've been meeting the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage and not always waiting for it to get there. I saw a lot of that today, the tackling from the defensive backs, and then I already mentioned the safeties playing better. The linebackers in the passing game, middle of the field, short stuff again, not ideal. That's nothing new, but I really am buying into a lot of those things that we have seen consistently, even though I'm not, I guess, adjusting for the opponent as much as I could possibly be. So how do you weigh that if you do take into account these last, quick math here, 180 minutes of football, specifically on the defensive side?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, 10, 24, and 13. That's, again, 2 out of 3 pretty good performances. And against the Broncos, I think you have to say at least 7 of those points were on the offense.
Yep.
So, to me, yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do. And you're right, they're not playoff caliber teams that you're going to see in the AFC down the road. But is the defense trending in the right direction? You know what? I mean, just looking back at it, and I tell you what, if we took out, and I know you can't really take it out, or if we just did what we're doing with the Broncos last week and putting 7 of those points on the offense, some of those points against the Broncos back in Week 14 were on the offense as well in special teams. And otherwise, we're talking about since the bye week, 17, 27 to the Chargers, no problem with that. 10, 27 to the Bengals, no problem with that. 28 to the Broncos when your offense and your special teams has a bunch of turnovers. No. 24 to the Texans, okay. 10 to the Seahawks, good. Broncos, 24, 13. I mean, this defense, just if you look at them just since the bye week, this defense has been better. They've been getting better each week. Have they been consistent? No. I mean, you can tell it from the numbers we're talking about here just as far as points allowed, which isn't the end-all, be-all of all statistics. But even counting that, this team in the second half of the season, and I think even trending towards the end of the season, has been closer to a top 10, top 12 defense than maybe its overall metrics for the entire season show, because they weren't very good early on, and they had some really tough times. But that's to expect from a young defense. And the two things that I would expect from a young defense in a year like this is that, one, they're going to get better throughout the year. Has this defense done that? Yes. They're going to be inconsistent. Have they done that? Yes.
Yep.
I mean, you're just hoping that inconsistency and the mistakes go away. And the fact that this was a clean football game is a very good indication to me for this team.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We are not going to have a serious conversation about special teams today. What a thrill. And then offensively, I hadn't even really looked at the box score until I was getting into the open of this show. And the fact that Patrick Mahomes ended this game with 202 passing yards and just 1 touchdown, you could have fooled me. I would have taken the over on the 202 pretty handily before I actually looked at the stat line. It just felt like the offense was largely working today, and that's in part because they got 170 yards nearly on the ground. But tell me if there's something that I'm missing offensively, or if it was just sort of efficiency, some brutalism perhaps, some real disrespect and some trick plays that didn't actually work but were on the track to working. I feel good about that side of the ball, which I guess is less surprising because Patrick Mahomes quarterbacks it.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders were trying to play the strategy against the Chiefs, which is the keep-away strategy. I mean, their approach was to run the football, to use play action. They wanted to have these 7-8 minute drives and make sure that the Chiefs don't have a ton of possessions. They did that effectively. They just forgot 2 things. One, they forgot to make sure the Chiefs don't score most of the time they have the football, right, in a reasonable position to score. And the Chiefs did that pretty much every time they had a chance to. And 2, they forgot to score themselves. I mean, they had a lot of long drives that went absolutely nowhere. That's fine. If you're going to have 3 drives of 10 plays or more and you're only going to get 10 points out of it, that's a win for the Chiefs defense to me. So I think that's in the offensively, like I said, I mean, they didn't have to do much. But they scored 31 points when they weren't really trying very hard. That's pretty big to me. But I tell you what, the one thing that was probably most impressive to this day for this team, and I would say that this is on the coaching side, plus the player side on every part of the ball, is that they were having fun and they were emotionally invested. And I wasn't certain that we were going to see that from a lot of teams this week. This has been a hard week. And I think one of the reasons why we saw Andy Reid, having that chuckle and a smile on his face when they ran Snow Globe was that he's like, these guys are having fun. And I don't know if he was certain that his team was going to have fun this week.
Wow, that's a great point. I mentioned right out of the gate, like it was playing well, but also I think I just said fun football, but I hadn't even really thought about that in relation to how very little of this week could have possibly been fun in the preparation getting to this point. That's a great point. Maybe that's why the Snow Globe got shook up a little bit today. Here's my last thing for you involving Snow Globe and the highlight we played right before we got started. I'm going to need you to tell me that Kadarius Toney isn't just a pair of healthy hamstrings away from ending his career in Canton at some point, because he looks like he was handmade for this offense.
You talk about that, and we are seeing the exact same thing with another player right now, in Derrick McKinnon.
No kidding.
Derrick McKinnon was born to be in this offense, and the fact that it took him so long to get into this spot and to get into a rhythm. I looked at it. I mentioned this earlier. The dude's played 104 NFL games. He's been in the league 8 years. And he scored 29 touchdowns in his career. 9 of those have been in the last 8 games.
Unreal.
Absolutely. And sure, hey, hot opportunity and take advantage of it. But you're right. That's exactly what happens when a player with a unique skill set ends up in the hands of a great coach. And we're seeing it with Patrick Mahomes too. Yeah, if Kadarius Toney stays healthy and, applies himself, I hate to say that. It sounds like I'm talking about an underachieving high school student.
Right.
But, you can absolutely see it. And health is probably the biggest thing to circle the fingers on, because that has been the issue with him thus far. If he stays healthy, Andy Reid is absolutely the coach for him. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback for him. You can see what he can do. He is so toolsy.
Yes.
So, I want to see that. I know on the broadcast they said that Brett Veach thinks that he could be this team's best receiver right now. That potential is there.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Matt, toolsy without ever being a tool. Really, really your tagline. I have often said that to people, but I decided to finally say it publicly to you since you brought it up. A toolsy? I'm not sure. You got the toolbox with all the skills you need.
One of the better compliments I've ever received, Josh, so thank you very much.
You are definitely toolsy, and you are definitely not a tool. I don't know how to wrap it up into a Twitter bio for you, but I'll give it some thought over the next 2 weeks, because I'm not going to have to talk to you on post-game next weekend, because I got the 1 seed. That's actually my last thing for you. How do you quantify how big of a deal that was? AFC Championship game location completely notwithstanding, no football next week for the Chiefs. What does that mean?
Well, and I once again, with Andy Reid. Andy Reid and his team, they'd be glad to play in a parking lot. So where you play isn't that big of a deal to me. But having 2 weeks off to rest your bodies and get everybody healthy, and the idea that this team could go into the postseason with its entire receiver group 100% or as close as it could be, and being able to get Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney on this offense at the same time. You get your pass rushers healthy. Frank Clark gets some time to rest that groin. All of these things, that's the dream, and that bye week is huge. There's no doubt about it. So, I think it's a great gift for the Chiefs. It's good fortune that they took advantage of. We'll worry about the rest of it later. Don't worry about anything with Buffalo or where the AFC Championship game. There's a lot of moving parts before then. Just take advantage of the bye week, rest up, and I'm sure Andy Reid's going to end up giving these guys a couple of days off this week, and they'll get back at it later in the week, probably Thursday or Friday, and they'll be ahead of the rest of the league.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Matt, looking forward to talking to you on the Zone on Friday. We'll take next week off. Enjoy the football tomorrow. Enjoy the playoffs next weekend. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
I like the way you think, Joshua. Take care.
Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest, another man really, really worthy of a bye week to rest up and get right. We got a lot of moving parts ourselves to deal with, and we'll take some time to do that. We'll also take a quick timeout here before we hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They're coming up next here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
WHB Kansas City.
Norman, before we start the surgery, I have some bad news.
What is it, doctor?
Well, I never graduated from med school. But the good news is, it's the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale. Now hurry, because new Xfinity customers can get 75 megabit internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And this will get your heart rate up. When you add Xfinity Mobile, you get the best price for 2 lines of unlimited.
I gotta get this deal.
Plus, for a limited time, get $500 back with 2 new mobile lines.
That's amazing, Doc.
I know. I don't want to miss this deal. Let's reschedule.
Doc?
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale now through January 10th. Go to Xfinity.com/Hello2023. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile. Compares Xfinity Unlimited Intro to lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brad Woodall with Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. My team and I make people feel better and perform better. We have received over 1,500 5-star reviews. You can trust Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture to take care of whatever problem you're experiencing. Find us at asfca.com to schedule a special $49 new patient appointment. We're open Monday through Saturday and accept most insurance. Find us at asfca.com.
It's time to take the whole family straight to Andy's Frozen Custard. They have this incredible new s'mores jackhammer. Amazing fresh vanilla frozen custard blended with chocolatey melted hot fudge and the crunchiest, crumbliest graham crackers. Andy's Frozen Custard, the world's finest. It's the best way to top your day with a smile.
Sunday, Sports Radio 810 WHB wraps up the regular season with a special NFL triple-header. At noon, the Jets and Dolphins are fighting to stay alive despite being undermanned at this point. At 3:25, Washington takes on the Dallas Cowboys, who are still trying to gun for that #1 seed. And we'll wrap it all up with the Lions and Packers on Sunday Night Football, which could be a winner-take-all game. It's all Sunday on your home for the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl 57, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Stidham now in the shotgun. 4-man Chiefs rush back at his goal line, looking right, throwing up for grabs downfield, and it's picked off at the 45-yard line. That's Thornhill with his third interception of the season. And that ball just hung in the air. Thornhill had the best chance to catch it, and he did.
A great pick there from Juan Thornhill. A great day for the Chiefs defense altogether. That is our defensive play of the game, brought to you by Schlegel Fence. When you need a fence, call Schlegel Fence. Schlegel Fence installs it all from wood to ornamental steel to vinyl to chain link. No job is too large, and it'll look great too. Schedule your free estimate by going to schlegelfence.com or call 816-863-6159. Really encouraged by the overall direction of the defense over these last few weeks. Secondary has been great. The young guys have really looked like they have learned a lot and have been able to put it together over the course of this season. Right now, this team just played its most complete game in a while in the last game of the regular season. A week off to get ready for the divisional round. No need for wild card football for the Chiefs as they took care of business 31-13 over the Raiders today. We'll hear from Andy Reid just on the other side of this, brought to you by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com.
We start from the top. Andy Reid with his opening statement after the win and what he saw from the injury front for the Chiefs.
All right. As far as the injuries go, really it was just Frank Clark, and not just, but it was Frank Clark that has a groin strain. So we'll see how he does here. He's got a little bit of time here, which is a good thing to recover. Our fans were unbelievable. I literally mentioned it before the game to the guys. There's a lot of red there. There's a lot of black too. And it's just going to be continuous noise throughout the game. So normally when your defense on an away game doesn't have to worry about the noise, they were going to have to worry about it today. And my hat goes out to our fans. I thought our run defense and pass defense were tremendous. The fourth down stand, I thought, kind of set the tempo for the game as we went. Mike Dana, he doesn't get mentioned very often, with a couple sacks in there, along with Chris Jones. And and George. So our defensive front, I thought, starts with them, and I thought they played well. Our young defensive secondary, I thought, also played well, especially the safeties. They don't get a lot of credit for what they do, but I thought they really played well and very aggressive. On offense, starts with the offensive line, just like it does on the other side with the defensive line. I thought we did a good job against what I thought was a good defensive front. Both 98 and 99 are good rushers, and our guys did a good job there. So it was good to see KT get a back-to-back game like that and back-to-back touchdowns. One got called back, and he got another one right after that. So he's tough to bring down and great quickness. Justin Watson starting it off with the big catch. Pat was on fire. 105 quarterback rating again. I mean, he's throwing these things out there like they're nothing. And but that was a big play again, setting the tempo. And then Kelsey again doing what he's done. I know he came up a couple catches short of the record, but he, in my mind, he's got the record. So, and then Juju and all the guys. I mean, they all played well. So the receiving core. And then Tommy on special teams. I mean, what a weapon he's become. So I thought he really did a nice job kicking the ball, punting the ball. It was good for Butt to get a field goal in there too. So with that, time's yours.
I mean, just going through the credits in that game, Andy Reid had a lot of guys to spotlight because a lot of guys played really good football on all three sides of the ball. Good for Butt also. I mean, you love to hear Andy Reid say the phrase good for Butt whenever possible. Also, good for everybody. Butt and his back strain. Frank Clark, as he tries to get healthy from the injury suffered today. McCole Hardman working his way back. Good for everybody to not have to be out there next weekend. Here's Andy Reid on securing the 1 seed.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, you still got to take care of business. Our guys understand that. We'll give them a few days off there next week, and then get them back in and towards the end of the week and get some practice in there. But and then start the regular week after that. But to just take a step back and get yourself where you feel stronger and healthier, so on. So mentally and physically is a good thing.
Extra rest, extra work, no game. It's all good for the Chiefs to have that 1 seed now locked up. Also, it's just been dominance after dominance in the AFC West. I mentioned at the top of the show, the Chiefs swept the division this year, 6-0. And also Patrick Mahomes is, I believe, now 16-0 against AFC West opponents on the road. That's crazy. And I think offset by the Broncos game, and then he would have missed one maybe in there with the injury. I'm not sure. I didn't do the math in my head. I just remember seeing that at some point. Undefeated on the road in the AFC West for Patrick Mahomes. 6-0 against the AFC West all around this season. Here's Andy Reid on continuing to dominate the division even after a crazy offseason of changes.
Yeah, well, I give credit to the coaches and the players for that. It started with Pat taking the receiving core. That's where he had a bunch of new guys that he was going to have to deal with in just a split second. So, and with accuracy, and he was able to do that and get them on the same page. He's taking a bow back there, and then defensively with all the young guys that Brett brought in, not only were they tremendous players, but they worked like crazy to step up and do the job that they did, particularly in the secondary. Every week they got a little bit better. So but my hat goes off to the coaches. Coaches worked hard, players worked hard. Good things have happened to this point. We still have some games left here, so we need to take care of business on that.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Mahomes. He's taking a bow back there as a funny cycle of how things went from early on in the offseason, getting everybody on the same page to this point now, 14-3, and a dominant performance in the West once again. A lot of questions about, of course, the snow globe, spinning huddle, ring around the rosy, Arctic Circle play. Andy Reid talked quite a bit about everything that went on there.
Well, you saw how it ended up. That's the benefit. So it's just to create a little bit of confusion and then line up in something that's not familiar to the opposing team. I thought the guys executed it well. We ended up with the holding call on it, but they did good with it. And the players enjoy doing that stuff. So a little creativity that they come up with these things. So we just throw them out there and let them work them.
That's what I want to ask you about that. To some degree, it's for competitive advantage, but at some level, is it still want to just make this fun and creative for them?
You do, but you want to score too. I mean, that's it's not fun when you're not doing that.
Who came to you with this idea?
Well, we've done it. We've kind of messed around with it in practice, but Pat, we call it the laboratory in there. He gets the guys down there, and then they don't put their name on it. They just bring it to me, and I've got 51% of the vote. So if I like it, we go with it. Well, it was in the Christmas spirit. It was reindeer personnel, and then Arctic Circle here.
So reindeer personnel, Arctic Circle, but after the game on the field, Mahomes said in his on-field interview it was the snow globe. So maybe it was snow globe in the lab when they were coming up with it. They got it to Andy Reid. He approved, and then he renamed it Arctic Circle. Fantastic. Maybe next time we get Arctic Monkeys. I don't know what that would be. They start spinning, and then they play a little song. I don't know. That was just for Drake. I thought Drake would enjoy. I was listening to some Arctic Monkeys over the weekend. Sterling convinced me to. I don't know. It was a weird. I've always liked Arctic Monkeys. I can't design the plays, but I could help come up with names for them. That's the service I'm willing to offer to the Chiefs. Don't let me draw them up, but bring them to me. I'll name them. We'll make them go viral. Next here from Andy Reid, talking a little bit about the opposition sideline, Josh McDaniels' version of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Josh has done a heck of a job now. I mean, nobody's had more close games than what he's had, and that's in your first year. I mean, it's a tribute to him and his guys for playing like they do. So we knew that coming in here, that they were playing well. I mean, they just held the 49ers to that last week, and so we need to make sure they got our complete attention. But our guys did a good job. We needed to get the three phases working together, and I thought the guys did that. All three phases showed up and did a nice job.
Well, I'm not all that interested in more on Josh McDaniels' Raiders, although I am intrigued to see what Andy Reid thinks about going to Jarrett Stidham and what it was like playing against him as opposed to years of getting ready for Derek Carr from Vegas.
Yeah, so I didn't know much about Stidham other from his college tape, and I really liked him coming out. Derek Carr, I got a ton of respect for. I've had a chance to coach him in the Pro Bowl, and so both of them, Stidham, for a young guy, it looks like he has a nice career ahead of him. And Derek, he'll hook on with somebody, and I'm sure, and do a great job there if he's not back here, right? So he's a true pro and a heck of a football player.
Now we go to the defensive line. We've already talked about it quite a bit today, and rightfully so. Andy Reid on the season Chris Jones has been having.
Yeah, he worked tremendously hard in the offseason, and not that he hasn't been, but he really worked hard at it. I think he and Joe Cullen hit it off, and that's they have a nice little thing going there chemistry-wise, and so I think that was a plus. Joe's a master technician, especially in the pass rush game, both things, but pass rush in particular. And I'm sure Chris would tell you he gave him a couple little things he could use, and Chris did the rest.
I mean, it's been a tremendous year for Jones. It's been a tremendous season in terms of point A to point B for the rookie on the edge, George Karlaftis. Andy Reid also spent some time talking about the former water polo player turned this team's second best pass rusher at this point in the season. Starting to look that way for George Karlaftis.
Yeah, I'm proud of that kid because it's hard. It's hard to make it through as a rookie, period, 17 games. But get better every week at that position, is something. I mean, it's as much mental as it is physical, and he is relentless. You see him at practice; he goes 100 miles an hour at practice, and he transfers that into games. So my hat goes off to him.
On the other side, there were some great performances today from Max Crosby. Got to Mahomes once and got flagged for it, got later, and had a little bit of damage. Look, if Max Crosby wanted to end up on the Chiefs' plane back to Kansas City, it wouldn't bother me one bit. Here's Andy Reid on what Crosby was able to do to the Chiefs' offense today.
Yeah, so that's something. He's an all-pro player, and he's 100 miles an hour, likewise, every play. and he's going to get there. Going against his old teammate, and those two get after each other. Wiley, I'm talking about, so college teammate. But my hat goes off to him. He's going to get there. He's a good player. He's going to get there every once in a while, but you just want to make sure it doesn't completely disrupt your offense.
Yeah, overall, I thought the Chiefs actually did an okay job handling Crosby because he is a very good player. His old college teammate, Andrew Wiley, across from him, had his hands full. Raiders won a couple of those reps, but Chiefs did okay in their own right. Here is Andy Reid back on the offensive side talking about one of the electric players in this game today, Andy Reid, on the value that Kadarius Toney brings to the offense.
Yeah, he does, and the way we're running the ball, our running backs are working like crazy on that, and you saw the big one that 10 had at the end, but you kind of mix that in, and Kadarius has got a little bit of each. He's got the receiving part, and then you hand him the football, and he can do some damage. So, and he loves to play. I mean, that's the thing you appreciate about him.
He's really been excellent. He's been dynamic. I think we're going to see more highlights from him coming up in these playoffs. Last thing here from Andy Reid is about getting to the playoffs and hitting on all phases right as they're on the horizon.
Yeah, we needed that. We really hadn't put it all together. I thought this was a good time that, if I had to pick a time to do it, this was a good time to do it. We strive for it every week, but it seemed like it all kind of came together today, which was a plus.
Kind of interesting there. We needed that. If I had to pick a time for us to be able to do it, I agree. It's just not always the kind of thing you hear from Andy Reid about, if this game would have been sloppy, I think he would have said, we got some things to clean up, but we'll get there by the playoffs. But it was pretty evident from the surface, for all of us watching, just really nice for the Chiefs to put together a clean, excellent, all-around performance. We'll hear from the quarterback side of it here, Patrick Mahomes, what he brought to the podium after bringing a really nice performance with sort of a quiet stat line. That's always a little odd, but Mahomes was masterful in the offense today. We'll hear from him right after you hear this from Xfinity.
Patrick Mahomes press conference brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that?
We talked about the Chiefs going 6-0 in the AFC West this year. Here's Mahomes talking about sustaining the winning ways the Chiefs have brought after an offseason of some changes and also some doubts.
I mean, it was started before I was even here, and so you get a lot of guys in here that learn how we do things. We have a lot of veterans on our team. And when you bring in new guys, you just show them by the way you act. And luckily for us, Brett Veach and Coach Reid brought in a lot of guys that were ready to work and wanted to get out there as quickly as possible. And I think you've seen as the season's gone on, those rookies are getting better, and then the veterans are starting to hit the right moment going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and everybody hitting the stride right now. That can kind of be the theme of the day because the success predating Mahomes continuing through this year, it's been, if not dominant, in the aggregate it has been, because no one else has touched the top of the West in a very long time. The Ring Around the Rosie, Snow Globe, Arctic Circle, Reindeer Personnel play. Patrick Mahomes certainly was able to talk a little bit about where those came from in the lab.
I told Colin, I was like, I'm pretty sure Trav was wide open as my second read, but I was just like, I got to give him a chance. And there was like a linebacker almost stumbled. I don't know if he'd have caught it. He actually has really good hands, but I don't know about his vertical, so I don't know if I'd have been able to throw him a jump ball. Yeah, we work on stuff throughout the entire season, and then try to call it in the right moments. And Coach Reid gives us some freedom to do some of our own flair to it. And so that circle one was one that we had ran some plays like it, and we talked about it on the side, and we were like, hey, let's see if we do this, get some confusion going to throw something back. And all the things, it has to work, and it worked. We just got the holding penalty. So we'll have to get some good stuff going for the playoffs, and whenever we run, it has to work.
Patrick, how much was the circle play? First of all, was it Snow Globe or Arctic Circle? And second, how much did you have to say in how that got designed to begin with?
Yeah, it's a combination. It's like Reindeer Personnel, Arctic Circle, Snow Globe. I just call it Snow Globe's easiest way to. That's why I said it out there. It's the easiest way to say it. It's a long play call, but yeah, it was something we had kind of practiced on actually last year of doing that kind of getting confusion going and getting to the line and snapping it. We didn't get the chance to run it last year. It kind of got thrown, not away, but you kind of, as you season gets started up, you go back to the basics. And as the season went back on, I was like kind of nudging Coach Reid. I was like, hey, let's bring it back in a different way. And we didn't have that throwback on it the last time we ran it. So hopefully we can maybe do it again and get back to whatever we ran last time and get another touchdown.
Arctic Circle, Snow Globe, Reindeer personnel, Dasher, Blitzen, throwback on 3. Complicated or not, it was fun and it worked, and that holding penalty made me sad because that should have been the highlight of the week. Regardless, Kadarius Toney got involved plenty, and maybe we'll see some more Arctic Circle motion coming from the Chiefs at some point in the future. Probably not this playoff run, but I bet they're going to have something special for the next few weeks. From the other side here for Mahomes, I think taking the shot to Justin Watson early in the game and having an offense that was able to be aggressive. Mahomes talking about what was different this week.
Yeah, I mean, I still could have been better, especially in the second half. But, yeah, it was nice to get that going early, especially. And like you said, Justin wasn't the first read, but he was kind of like those alert. He's like an alert where you get your eyes there just to see. And he did a good job on that motion. He didn't get the ball thrown to him all practice, and he was just staying alive. And they played a coverage that they don't play a lot, where they're playing a little 2 into the field. He kind of got down that where would be the red line, the sideline, and I was able to get the ball to him and make a play. I was disappointed he didn't score. He's supposed to be like the fastest dude on the field, but he didn't get in there. So I'm sure McCole and Marquez will give him a little crap for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, he had the space. He got it out there and then didn't score off of it. What happened to Forrest Gump? I was thinking the same thing. Glad Mahomes said it, though, because he gave him the nickname. Also hear from Mahomes on the serious side again, the strangeness in the depths of what this game meant. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it ended up being in the echo of great news instead of in the shadow of terrible news, but still an incredibly odd week of preparation as they were the first team back, the first game back after Damar Hamlin's scary situation from Monday night. Again, followed up by a lot of good news over the 48 hours or so preceding this game. But Mahomes talked about what it was actually like to be out there and to be the first team on the field after Damar Hamlin went down.
Yeah, it was definitely weird, man. I mean, it's a game that you love. A game that you love, that you've played your entire life, and you've enjoyed, had so many great moments, and it's brought so many great things to you. But obviously, with the situation that happened on Monday night with Damar, I mean, you still have that in the back of your mind. Not him going down or anything like that, but just you want to be there for him. There's so much stuff bigger than football that was kind of in your mind, and so I was just glad we were able to get out there, and even though we were the first team back, we were able to get through there with not a lot of injuries, and guys were able to just go out there and enjoy it and have fun again. And I said it at the end of the game there to the broadcast, but it helped out a lot that he was able to make that video. Even though I didn't see it, he made the video and was able to talk to his teammates again, and everything's looking great because that gives you the little bit of that final thing, like, all right, this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to go out there and give joy to not only us, but the rest of the world watching us.
I think that's a great perspective of the good news. Again, as I mentioned, Damar Hamlin posting on Instagram and tweeting right before and right early in this game. I saw just a little bit ago as the postgame we were starting a screenshot of him FaceTiming with someone, and you could see the picture of him in the bottom right corner. Huge smile on his face. I mean, just a tremendously uplifting turn of events there. And I imagine that made it a lot easier to take the field today, knowing that this is going to ultimately be that his GoFundMe has raised like $8 million now. That this could end up being a cause for good after being just the most horrible thing we've seen on a football field just on Monday night. Meanwhile, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are back on TV again here for the late game on ESPN here in this Saturday weekend slate of games. Just a remarkable wire-to-wire and a great turn of events over the last, again, 48, 72 hours or so. Meanwhile, back in the AFC West, Patrick Mahomes talking about winning in the division once more, and if there's a little more juice when they go out there against the divisional rivals.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was something that was instilled with me right when I got here is we were going to focus on the AFC West opponents. We believe we have one of the best divisions, not the best division in football. And so we know if we can handle business in the AFC West, it's going to put us in the position to be where we want to be at the end of the year. And so, like I've said a lot, is our first goal is win the AFC West. Second goal is to get home field advantage, which we're in a weird spot there. But now we're going to get this bye and try to get back to the playoffs, get a home game at Arrowhead, and try to handle business there against what will be another great football team. If you look at the AFC in general, every single team, 1 through really 8, 9, can make a run at the Super Bowl. So we know we're going to get a good test no matter who it is.
Yeah, I mean, there will be interesting opponents after everything shakes out, but they're so far removed from where they need to, end up worrying about who the opponent coming to Arrowhead will be. We just know it'll be at Arrowhead for the first game the Chiefs play in the postseason. It won't have to be next week, so that's a real win-win for where they're at right now. AFC Championship game, that'll take care of itself. This Matt Derrick also brought up when we chatted with him earlier in the show. Patrick Mahomes here talking about if running and practicing those trick plays over the course of the year helps keep everybody locked in over the course of a long season. And then, of course, this week in a very strange week altogether. So here's Mahomes about what that dynamic is like behind the scenes.
You have to have fun out there. I mean, we practice hard. We go out there and we try to get the best out of every single day. But the coaches let us have fun. And I think that's what keeps us going. And it's a long season, a lot of practices, and sometimes you just want to play the games. But we built this culture of let's go out there and practice, have a great time doing it, enjoy it, have fun. But at the same time, let's be great. And that's stuff that, like I said, was here before I even got here. And I'm just glad I'm in this organization and get to do it every single day.
Well, I mean, he is embodied that energy really, really well, even if he wants to give credit to the organization for having some of that before he arrived. The have fun, be great sort of methodology, I think, is a very good one and is very descriptive of how Patrick Mahomes plays the sport of football. Also true for how Kadarius Toney plays football. I'm really excited to talk about him. I hope we talk about him a lot for years, because the highlights he has had so far in his brief time as a member of the Chiefs have been tremendous, and Patrick Mahomes had very high praise for Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, even more than I think we thought. I mean, we knew he was talented, but for him to get accustomed to the offense this fast and be able to be out there for multiple plays now, and even if he's not getting the football, he's in the right spot, he's doing the right things, he's getting himself open. It just adds another dimension. He's a special type of talent that's different than any player that I think I've played with as far as the way he's able to move. And so he's getting better and better at running routes that we run in this offense. I think y'all saw that today. And now let's try to get 17 back, another speed guy, and I think this offense can even take it another step.
I don't know how you could think anything other than that. Like, you have to be excited about the next gear of this offense. Hardman back in the playoffs. You hope. Setbacks, and he's been close, it seems like, for weeks now, but he was activated off IR and then was inactive today because of the setback and all that. But ultimately, if Kadarius Toney gets the obvious stuff in the offense, Mahomes saying getting better at the routes we run in this offense, I think that'll come. And when that gets paired with, as Patrick Mahomes said, who has not only played with, McCole Hardman currently on the roster, but there was a guy who wore number 10 in previous years, who I remember having a lot of juice laterally. And I don't even think what he said there about Kadarius Toney is wrong. Like, Kadarius Toney has little, teleportations. Tyreek Hill's a burner forever. I mean, this isn't really about him. Kadarius Toney just moves differently than mere mortals tend to, and Tyreek Hill's no mere mortal. But I'm not going to correct Mahomes on that one, and I'm really excited to see what Toney can do for this offense. I'm also excited to not have to see Max Crosby again this year. I'm guessing Patrick Mahomes is too. Here's Mahomes on Crosby and what he was able to do defensively against that Chiefs offense today.
He's an absolute monster. I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. I mean, we know. I mean, we have a plan for him. Everybody has a plan for him. He does a good job of still making an impact on the game. And we go at it. I mean, he's a competitor like I am, but I have so much respect for him because the way he plays. Because sometimes when you're that good and that talented, you can take plays off, and he takes 0 plays off. He plays the run, the pass, whatever it is, every single play as hard as you can.
And that is. He was a threat at multiple times. He was effective a couple of times. Overall, though, the Chiefs' offense was able to do most of the stuff it wanted to do today, even though, Andrew Wiley certainly had his hands full with his former teammate. We'll take a quick timeout here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, and then we'll come back and hear from the defensive side as Nick Bolton and Chris Jones both spoke to the media right after the game. It's all brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your percent off. They scored 31 points, so you get 31% off on orders of $100 or more at CBD American Shaman, where life is better with the feather.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This is Lee Sterling of ParamountSports.com, and gambling is legal now, so if you want to take advantage of it, just go to ParamountSports.com. We win on average 3 out of every 4 weeks in college football and the NFL. We even do baseball, UFC, hockey, and basketball. So you want the edge. You want the #1 service in the country. You want to win. Just go to ParamountSports.com or call 800-400-9741. Start winning today.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here from my great friends at Kansas City Credit Union. For more information about becoming a member, go to kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more info. You could also get more information about the 12-12-12 holiday loan from Kansas City Credit Union. They have 3 convenient locations in the Kansas City area, and I'm a member at Kansas City Credit Union. You should be too. Go to kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports.
Norman, we need to pause this surgery.
What, doctor?
Well, we need to hurry to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale. New Xfinity customers can get 75 megabit internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Plus, when you add 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile, you get $500 back for a limited time.
Drop everything. Get to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale now through January 10th. Go to Xfinity.com/Hello2023 to learn more. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. Tito's is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, Navy 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Receding hairlines, bald spots, thinning hair, many try medications, foams, special shampoos, or supplements. But the best method for restoring your hair is simple. Transferring your own hair follicles to the places you need them. I'm Dr. Jeff Markey with Ascentus Plastic Surgery. We perform hair transplants with cutting-edge ARTIST robotics to get the single best result for each patient with the least amount of downtime. Contact Ascentus Hair Restoration or visit kansascityhairtransplant.com for a free consultation. Surgical precision with hair restoration performed by plastic surgeons only at Ascentus Hair Restoration.
McKinnon will go in motion, stops as a slot right, but it's a running play right up the gut. 2-1 touchdown, Ronald Jones. They just pushed the defensive line back, a little motion right. Jones came back up the middle, 2-yard touchdown, and the Chiefs are ahead 13-3.
And who couldn't have seen that coming? Ronald Jones touchdown in January? Hey, look, I actually thought that there was a pretty good chance of that if you would have asked me in October, I guess. Maybe more like August. I thought we might see some Ronald Jones getting involved, but today he scores in the final game of the regular season, and it's our play of the game brought to you by Central Bank. For more, visit them online at centralbank.net. In fact, Ronald Jones ended up having all around a nice effort today as he had a longer run late in the game to put it on ice. 10 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. By far Ronald Jones' biggest game as a member of the Chiefs. You want to have 3 guys in that backfield who can get it done? I feel like Ronald Jones always had a little bit of a chance and a nice role in this offense, but clearly Isaiah Pacheco is the sort of running down RB1, and Derrick McKinnon is a positionless, ageless wonder at this point. But nice to see Ronald Jones get into the end zone as well. We talked quite a bit about the offensive side and heard from the offensive guys in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but it's about time to hear from the defensive side as well. We hear from Nick Bolton and Chris Jones here in our locker room report presented by Twin Peaks.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
Nick Bolton continued to rack up the tackles today as the Chiefs defense held the Raiders to just 13 points. Here's the Chiefs' green dot Mike linebacker Nick Bolton.
Nucleus of guys, got a lot of young guys who are willing to buy in and do their job and do their 111th and communicate and also just respect those other guys and come in and work every single day. And I praise those guys that we lost, kind of set the standard of what we want to do here. And we just had some guys come in and just buy into that, and it helped us out a lot.
Did it ever get dicey at all? I mean, in training camp, and you're seeing those rookies go through the growing pains because you guys were playing so many of them?
Yeah, man. I was there just a year ago, so I know how it can be up and down and how the training camp goes. And guys get dinged up, I see those guys still compete and push through. We all our rookies, they did that throughout training camp, and it kind of benefited them going into the season, helping them make a back push for these last couple games.
You talked about training camp. You guys came into this season with a lot of goals that you wanted to accomplish. Do you feel like you guys, at the end of the season now, do you feel like you guys accomplished that?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, like Patrick mentioned earlier, we kind of want to come in and win the AFC West. We know how good our division is. So that's our first one, and also getting home field advantage. And it's still in kind of a dicey situation with that one. But, again, kind of our goals, we kind of accomplished those. And our next goal is kind of compete for a Super Bowl. We got a week off, and we come back and try to compete for that as well.
Nick, in Europe, some of the biggest improvements that you all can make defensively going into the playoffs, knowing some of the teams that you had trouble with, like a Buffalo or Cincinnati, you faced them.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, those games we didn't tackle very well, and I didn't really tackle that good today. So just cleaning that up. I feel like those run out the catch and yards at the catch with playmakers on those two teams especially. Those guys can catch the ball and get vertical and make plays, and so we just got to tackle it well in the playoffs in order to have a chance.
In your opinion, what is the best thing that makes Chris who he is on the field?
Man, I guess the biggest thing is just him being him. He doesn't try to be anybody else. He knows who he is. He comes in every single day and try to give his best, and that's the only thing we can ask for. He comes in, he plays 3-tech, play the shade, play the end, plays a pass, hold off double teams. He keeps our linebackers clean. That's been a benefit for me for sure, and then also for Willie and the other guys, and also the D linemen. We always know that Tris is going to get the slide, so backside usually can get one-on-ones, and so it helps the backside generate pressure, and that's good for our defense as well.
Nick, you and Patrick talked a lot about the culture of this team. What have you, since you joined here the Kansas City Chiefs, and the culture and how you become a part of that?
Oh, yeah. Since I came here, the standard's always been winning. We come in training camp, we bust our butts off to try to put ourselves in position to win games, and ultimately win the AFC West. And so Coach Reid and our coaches, Coach Spags, they do a great job of pushing us every single day, try to put ourselves in that position. And as we kept going, when the roads get tough, it brings us together, lean on the leaders a lot. It forces us to kind of grow together. Young guys, again, those guys have been terrific. They've been buying into the culture and pushing themselves every single day to get better. And I think that's what it takes to be good in this league.
Nick, you've seen it in practice, but to see it in a game today with the Arctic Circle, the spinning around, playing the offense, just what was your first reaction when they showed that in practice?
Yeah, I actually didn't see that in the game today, so I might not speak correctly on that. But I see them do it in practice. They kind of do it every week, and so they just have fun with it, man. And don't know who's getting the ball. Those guys are playmakers, they're dynamic on offense, and Coach Reid does a great job putting guys in position to make plays.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Nick. There's Nick Bolton after the game against the Raiders. It's funny, stuff like that I actually didn't see the play that everyone's talking about because they're over there, trying to focus on their side of things. Just sort of a funny dynamic of how different games can be on the sidelines versus watching at home versus watching the press box. Different vantage points bring a lot of here. Spags will occasionally also do that where someone will say, "So what'd you think whenever you saw that play?" It's like, "Oh, I was not paying attention to our offense. I was over on the I almost said iPad, but I don't want the NFL Microsoft Surface. They don't pay me to say that, so I can call whatever I want, but." I imagine Spags would have said the iPad. I'm pretty sure he would. But that's just that's part of it. That's part of the charm, part of the excellence. Really, you got to have a total disregard for the branding to be a good defensive coordinator. I don't know if you have to have a disregard for the branding to be an excellent defensive tackle, but that's what Chris Jones is. Another dominant football game from number 95. Really excited to see what he's able to do in the playoffs, hoping that he can put up some of the stats this postseason that he hasn't been able to put up lately, because it would be the deserved exclamation point on his season here. Here's Chris Jones after today's game.
Kind of walk us through this journey you've had this year.
It's been fun. We still got a ways to go. Leading into the playoff, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And I think we finished in a good mind frame, good place as a D-line overall. My supporting cast, what those guys been able to do for me, free me open. Joe Cullen, bringing him in as a mentor for me and as a D-line coach has completely transpired my game, whether it's the run game or the pass rush. So I'm very grateful.
How eager are you, or have you been for a while, to play in the playoffs based on how last year?
Last year stuck with me. I had 2 critical plays that I should have made that I missed, and we know how the game went. So this year we're eager to get after it after the bye week, of course, and home field advantage.
Chris, what specifically has Joe Cullen done for you to your game?
Most importantly, we have the same mind frame and passion towards pass rushing. I love to pass rush, natural born pass rusher. But we emphasize on improving in the run this year, taking my game to another level on the pass rush and the run game, and pushing me to become a more complete player than just a pass rusher.
Chris, is there an extra bit of satisfaction when a team knows they're double teaming you, you know they're double teaming you, that the slot's coming to you, and you still get a sack like the first one today?
It's more so understanding. I know it's coming. I haven't seen it throughout the year, and it's about my counter reaction. I'm going to play it what I'm able to do in this defense that Spags allowed me to do, and the first one's very successful with it.
Chris, this is the first game since DeMar Hamlin was hurt. I wondered how you processed any of that, if it was or wasn't a factor anyway before you got out there and played.
Thoughts and prayers go out to DeMar. I read that he's actually talking now. He sent a message to the team, and that's tremendous. To watch that from home on my couch, which it could have been one of my brothers who I play with. I definitely was affected emotionally, and going into this game, being the first game that's played since that incident that happened, it was heavy on my heart. I said a prayer for him, and I said a prayer for my teammates also to ensure their safety.
Were you able to be out of your mind basically once you started playing?
I don't think it's ever out of your mind as a player to experience that. I think you try to mask it with what's going on in your surroundings.
Chris, I asked you last week about Colin Saunders and him being healthy. This week you got a chance on offense. Did you see his play and what you decided about?
Pat should have threw it. Pat should have threw it. I'm blaming Pat. It's the quarterback fault. We've been working that play since week 1 of the season. And I think this is the second time they called it. The first time they called a timeout. Coach Reid took him out. Second time. Pat should have threw it, but the defensive DB ran upfield, which forced Colin to kind of angle it out, and he wanted to,
Was it a good route?
With the circumstances, I can't go against my guy. He's a deep block guy,
Hey, you faced Derrick Carr a number of times. You've gotten a car. The first time you faced now Jarrett Stidham. What did you see in that quarterback, that new quarterback that got his first start last week?
He's very poised. I think with repetition, he can be a good quarterback in this league. He'll stand in the pocket. He'll take a hit. He's very patient with it. Yeah. He's understanding of the game. Very shifty also. So much respect to him and Raiders organization for believing in him and actually starting him over Derek Carr. Wish him much success. Not against the Chiefs though.
Hey Chris, how complete of a game was today's defensive performance? You seem to always be critical of you look at performances with a critical eye. How would you rate today?
We dropped a few interceptions. We let 2 to 3 quarterback runs get out past 6 to 8 yards. I mean, we can be better in that area, but I think we played pretty good last game of the season. Knock on wood. Hopefully everyone came out healthy. And we got a week off. We came in with the intention knowing what's at stake and what we're fighting for, and we was able to win the game, most importantly. So heading into the playoffs, we get a bye week, we get home field advantage, everything we wanted going into this season, and we're looking forward to the playoffs.
We'll go 3 more. We'll go Sam, Scott, and then Len.
Chris, how different of a player is George Karlaftis from when you first came into training camp to what you're seeing from him now?
I love George, man. like I said earlier, we kind of asked George to step in and be a starter on this defense. It's not comical, but he answered. I think he's going to be a tremendous player. The more he play, the more repetition he's out there, the more he's able to feel the game, the more knowledge he has. And you got to be patient with him. He's young. Got to give him time to grow, but I love George. That's my guy.
I have basically the same question, but the way he's been such a consistent sack guy the last 5-6 games, what does that do for you, having another guy who demands that much attention?
What is it, 5 for 5 right now?
I think it's 5 out of 6.
Oh, okay, George. He's been staying with me after practice, working on his pass rushing. The commitment that he's broadcasted throughout the season is starting to show on the field. And sometimes it doesn't translate with your work that you put in, and you expect this, and sometimes you don't get that. And I was telling him, you got to be patient with that. Sometimes it's not for you to get it. It's not in your plan to get as many sacks as you want to get. Sometimes it's about the growing process, what you learn throughout the year to become a player that you're going to be. So he's very understanding to that. I have a lot of talks with him about being patient. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's your first year. We know you want 20 sacks, and everybody wants the double-digit sacks, but it's a process that you got to go through in order to achieve that type of success.
Last one, man.
Chris, just this level of satisfaction getting through the season and sweeping the division.
Man, that's refreshing. Listen, going into the year, we had a lot of criticism on we might be the worst team in this division, and I know every player in that locker room and every coach in that locker room heard about it or seen it on social media or on ESPN, and with all the transitions this division made, whether bringing in Chandler Jones, Russell Wilson, and the Chargers adding Khalil Mack, they counted us out. And with Coach Reid and Pat and the supporting cast, we was able to overcome every adversity, every stick and stone that were thrown our way, and go undefeated in the division. So I think that's tremendous. It takes a lot to do that. That's not an easy task. It takes a lot from each individual also to buy in and to truly believe in that. And I'm just extremely proud of these young men.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Good stuff there from Chris Jones after the game in Vegas. Look, I'll give you this much just for myself. I had the Chiefs winning this division. I had them over their over-under by, I think, 2 full wins from where Vegas and all the sports books had them. And I didn't think they were going to sweep the division because that's just a really bleeping hard thing to do. And for all of the, overexertion people were going through to crown the Broncos and the steps they made to get better, or to say, the Raiders are bringing it all together now, or, of course, the Chargers taking another step. The Chargers are a legitimately good football team. The Chiefs only beat them by 6 total points over their 2 games, right? They handle the Raiders in these 2, but it's hard to win divisional matchups at home and on the road. Think about all the games the Chiefs dropped, weird divisional games they've dropped over the years. And the Broncos, of course, were a mess. They got them twice late in the year. Even when it was bad, you thought that maybe they'd figure it out a little bit later on. This season is going to be so interesting to see how fans remember it, because week by week, I think the predominant emotion of the season might have been frustration. But when you look back on what this year was, sweeping the AFC West after that offseason, clinching the division a week before Christmas, and now the 1 seed, the first round bye, going into the playoffs. I think we're going to remember the whole of this season more fondly than we remembered each game, and ending it this way most certainly helps. My name is Joshua Brisco here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. It's brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Dylan Michaels in the big chair on the other side of the glass now. Dylan, so far so good to this point in the postseason, or in the postgame show. We're not in the postseason yet. We'll see if we have to call on you in the postseason. But stepping in for the Drake, injuries happen sometimes. I'm not going to say anything about the status of Drake's groin. one way or the other. But we're still rolling on here on the 810 Postgame Show. Still need to hear from Josh McDaniels and give some final thoughts on the Chiefs' regular season. Then we'll be able to hand you over for, I think, probably the whole fourth quarter of Jags and Titans right now. The Jags have the ball. They are moving. They are down 6. It's 16-10 right now with Joshua Dobbs' Tennessee Titans with a 6-point lead over Trevor Lawrence's Jags. A very AFC South showdown. Win and in. Whoever wins this game takes the AFC South. But again, we'll bring you the fourth quarter here on your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. More post-game action next.
Cousins in the gun for Minnesota. Shotgun snap, drops back 3, 5-man rush, arching a spiral pass back of the end zone. Caught! Touchdown in the corner!
The NFL playoffs are coming to Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Dak Prescott waltzes in. Touchdown! Kelsey down the near sideline.
Your home for the NFL playoffs and live coverage from Arizona of Super Bowl 57. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Do you struggle with pain, sleep, anxiety, or lack of energy? Well, who doesn't? Visit your local CBD American Shaman and let them educate you on the benefits of the highest quality hemp oil available. And when the Kansas City football team scores big, you score big too. If Kansas City puts up 50, that's right, it's 50% off your order of $100 or more the day after the game. That's huge savings. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
The fans, the tradition, the glory. There's nothing more thrilling than college football, and it all comes down to the national championship game happening on Monday. Your go-to for betting is DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. And right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose. Plus, everyone can combine multiple bets for a bigger payout with DraftKings same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code 810WHB. New customers bet just $5 on college football and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's code 810WHB only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700. 21 plus, physically present in Kansas. Bonus issued as free bets. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
Join the best in banking when you open your account with Central Bank. We're rooted in legendary customer service and have the tools to make banking easy. Our award-winning mobile app has more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9 star rating. Experience it for yourself and see why our customers love it. We can't wait to show you how awesome it is to bank with us. Get started by visiting centralbank.net/betterbanking. Central Bank, strong roots, endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
Do you have a frog? You know, a freezing room over the garage? Now that everyone is home, are you looking to convert your frog into an office, a schoolroom, or a comfortable room to escape your family? With no ductwork required, Mitsubishi Electric offers room-by-room air filtration and precise temperature control. Let's help you turn those cold, uncomfortable spaces in your house into a space you and your family will really enjoy. To learn more about Mitsubishi Electric's solutions, visit keepkccool.com today. Now, they can help you whether you need to heat it up or cool it down. Mitsubishi's got you covered. Our biggest problem here in the Sports Radio 810 control room and studio was the heat. We've got a lot of windows and a lot of radio equipment, and our Mitsubishi unit has kept us cool for years. It works like a charm, and it works quickly, and it's whisper quiet. It's been a real game changer for us at Sports Radio 810. Check them out at keepkccool.com. That's keepkccool.com today.
Play clock dwindling down, but Stidham gets it away. We have a flag on the play late. Stidham got hit, he got fumbled, and the Chiefs pick it up at the 30-yard line of the Raiders.
The defense just made plays today, taking the ball back from Jarrett Stidham via the ground, via the air, one of each, as the Chiefs win the turnover battle and ultimately just put out the exact type of performance you'd like to see as you get ready for the postseason. If there's anything you need to get figured out before the postseason, I might just suggest that you make sure that you take this extra week of time to make sure you've got the best product for the best pregame, in-game, or post-game meal in town by going to Green Grass Cattle Company. You can visit them in Weston at their store off 45 Highway, less than a mile from the ranch, or order online at greengrasscattleco.com. They'll deliver right to your door. Again, they're locally owned and operated in Weston, Missouri. I've been out there to visit the ranch, meet some cows, feed some cows, generally have a good time, see the whole operation. It was really cool. I'm a real believer in what they do there, and I think it's awesome that they are, in fact, locally owned and operated, and everything you'd like to see a company be. Local and the best product you could possibly imagine. They implement the best practices with their premium Black Angus cattle, providing the best feed, clean water, and a low-stress environment to make sure you have the best-tasting beef in town. So go check out Green Grass Cattle Company at their store in Weston off 45 Highway or at greengrasscattleco.com, and they'll deliver right to your door. Get that handled over the bye week. You got some extra time. A little extra time to prep, a little extra time to rest. That was the message from Andy Reid. Could be the message for you as well. A lot more time for Josh McDaniels to figure out his next steps. Obviously, ending on a loss, a 6-11 season for Josh McDaniels in his first year as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Feels about right. That 6-11 season where by the end of it you've lost faith in your starting quarterback, but you're going to keep Devontae Adams around and then figure it out from there. A lot of questions to be answered by Josh McDaniels. We'll hear from him next. Brought to you by Metcalf CarStar.
Brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar. Relax. They'll take it from here.
Here's Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels as he answers questions about this game, and most certainly, I'd assume, looking forward to what the year to come is going to look like for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Could really get much rhythm or momentum going in the game. So, again, congratulations to them, and we'll learn a lot from this, obviously. We know who we're chasing, that's for sure. So.
Josh, now that the season's over, do you immediately just go right into, do you even review the film, or does it just go right into the offseason immediately?
Oh, no. We'll, you learn something from everything. So we'll, the staff will watch the tape tomorrow, and, we'll be very, precise with what we've seen. Like I said, there's, we're going to play them again, and so, we got, there's a lot of things we learned from the first time we played them, and there's going to be a lot of things we learn again, and there's things you learn about, players, situations, et cetera. So there's plenty to learn from each game.
Hey, Josh, what was your reaction to the ring around the rosy play? Did you find that disrespectful at all, or what do you think of that?
Coach Reid does, he has some of those things, each game, and look, the game was still, at that point, we were still competing in it. They were trying to score. If they felt like that was a play that could give them an opportunity to score a touchdown, which it almost did, there's shovel passes. I've run flea flickers and all that kind of stuff, and like I said, just because the game was in the fourth quarter doesn't mean it was out of hand yet. So, no, I do not at all. Not at all.
Josh, you've obviously seen it at a high level. The Chiefs represent it at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here about a year now. I'm not asking you to put a timeline on it, but do you think it's closer or further away for you guys to be where you need to be like that?
There's no, there is no timeline on that. I think the thing you do is you take the best day you can have, and you continue to do that and produce those through the off season and improve the football team in any way that you can. Whether that's our process, what we choose to do, how we play, how we coach, the players that are on the team. We have a lot of things to evaluate, obviously, and we know a lot more now than we did last January. And we've got a year full of evidence of, what we need to make better, whether it's our process or, on our team. So there's a lot of things that we can look at, and we're going to address them. And, like I said, we'll see. But every year you're trying to win. Every game you're trying to win. There's no, seasons where you're going out there and saying this one doesn't really matter. They all matter, and I think everybody in this organization, wants to do that, and that's what we're going to be hard at work to do.
You're going to obviously, like you said, evaluate everything in the weeks and months ahead. Does anything stand out to you right now in terms of what happened here this season? Can you point to different things of why it ended up this way?
No, there's a lot of reasons why you win and lose. today wasn't a really close game, but we obviously have played in a lot of them. And so, going back through all those and, you win in this league when you earn it. And that's through performance and work. And so, we all can do something better, what some of us maybe more than others. And so I'll start with myself and our staff and try to do everything we can do better as we go into the off season and next year. And same thing with how we play. So there's not one thing. There's too many variables in football.
Josh, since the beginning of the season, you talked about understanding again the expectation from Raider Nation. Now, just wrapping up Week 18, obviously so much transpired in the 18 weeks leading into this. But I want to know just your raw emotions finishing your first year as Raider head coach.
Yeah, blessed, extremely blessed, grateful, thankful for the opportunity myself. Appreciate the guys in the locker room, our team. I mean, look, these things, adversity is part of our journey and part of our story. And I've been on a lot of teams before that it hasn't ended perfect. And a lot of times those are the moments and those are the years and those are the games that propel you into improving. And then you have an opportunity to go farther and do more. And so I couldn't be more thankful for the group in the locker room, the staff, the way the organization has treated me and my family. And, we're going to be hard at work. We know what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. We didn't come here to, just go through it. And that's not that's not our intentions. And so we knew when we came here there was going to be a process involved. And I know people get sick and tired of hearing about that word, but look, that's the reality is, there's work involved and there's time and there's decisions and there's evaluations that need to be made. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make them and we're going to try to make the team better every way that we can.
Josh, how would you assess your coaching this year? If you had to give yourself a grade.
Say it one more time.
So how would you assess your coaching job this year if you had to give yourself a grade, and how are you going to be able to learn to have your team close out games in the second half as opposed to this year when you guys weren't able to do that?
I'm not going to grade anybody, but look, I mean, we are what we are, and so I know there's things I can do better, and I'm going to evaluate myself first and try to do a better job of what I'm doing and what I'm responsible for, and I'm going to try to do that with our entire team. And so, look, the fact that you're in games, gives you an opportunity, and now you have to do things at the end of those close games to earn the victories. And that's the nature of the National Football League. I mean, pretty much every game is going to come down towards the end. And, and in order to win those, there's a lot of things you got to do right. And, I thought today was a good example of, if you make a few mistakes against this kind of a football team and you don't take advantage of the opportunities that you have, then the game can get away from you a little bit. And, they've been together for a long time, and they've got, a really good formula. They have a process in place that's pretty damn successful, and we know who we're chasing.
I think Josh McDaniels said that phrase a couple of times in that presser, and he's right. The whole AFC West, even after this entire offseason, they know who they're chasing, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs. 6-0 in the AFC West, 14-3 on the regular season. The now sole holders of the 1 seed in the AFC. Yes, again, there could be some situations where if the Bills win tomorrow and make it to the AFC Championship game, then all of a sudden you're talking about a neutral site game as opposed to it potentially being an Arrowhead. Here's the biggest thing. I'd tell you, don't spend too much time worrying about that right now. The Bills have to get there and the Chiefs have to get there. But they're 1 week closer because they don't have to play next weekend. They can rest up, get healthy, and then take whatever comes next in the AFC playoff picture. A remarkably successful season for the Chiefs. All you can really do is ask for that 1 seed, and that's what they did. Ups and downs and unimpressive wins over crummy teams. Well, 14-3 in the 1 seed. That should pretty much assuage any doubts you had about where this team belonged. That's going to do it for us here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. The Chiefs victorious over the Raiders, 31-13. The offense, efficient, effective, through the air and on the ground. The defense, dominant, rushing 4, getting pressure, sacking Jarrett Stidham 6 times. The secondary, young, improving every week. Excellent today. where, hey, did you realize Devontae Adams had a relatively quiet afternoon, all things considered? If there's an argument to be made that you need to be hitting your stride in time for the playoffs, there's also an argument to be made that the Chiefs have done exactly that. So thank you for being a part of this entire regular season of Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Shows. Thanks to everyone who has hit a button for it, from Beers McFly to the Drake to Dylan Michaels behind the glass right now. One more time, I'm Joshua Brisco. We will not talk to you next weekend. The Chiefs won't be playing football. I'll talk to you Monday on The Zone and the next weekend for postgame. In the meantime, on the other side of this break, the fourth quarter of Jags-Titans for the AFC South. Thanks for listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by CBD American Shaman. Until next time, bye, Mom.
I love my collection of autographed jerseys, and there's only one place I trust to frame them perfectly. Art and Frame Warehouse at 92nd and Metcalf. Art and Frame has the largest selection of custom framing options, the best customer service, and the best prices in Kansas City. Plus, mention my name, and you'll save even more. Locally owned and operated for almost 20 years, Art and Frame Warehouse specializes in jerseys and sports memorabilia, and all their work comes with a lifetime guarantee. They even delivered and installed all of my jerseys. Visit framekc.com for more information. Art and Frame Warehouse, gallery quality at warehouse prices.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city